before we get started, do you guys want to give a brief introduction of yourselves and a little description about your band and kind of what your music is like and about?
Okay, so we are an indie band based in the West Midlands. The members are Tom, who's my twin brother on bass, Kieran on drums and other percussion, also like electric. What would you call the pad?
I don't even know. It's just like a sample of pads, so like you can make loads of different sounds coming through it. It's pretty cool.
Kieran plays that as well, and then I play lead guitar and lead vocals. And I don't really think we have a genre really. It's more indie based, but there's definitely a lot of R&B influences, house influences, just loads of different influences, a lot of electronic stuff as well. So we're quite varied. Our influences are Foals, Arctic Monkeys, Kasabian, Nile Rodgers. Kieran, you like a lot of Catfish on the Bottom, don't you?
Yeah, love Catfish. Yeah, repping it, love it.
Yeah, man.
And then I've recently got into more of like Inhaler, Sound Fender, bands like that.
Yeah, and then I've started playing piano, so we're looking to go in sort of like a more, I think add some more like synth layers as well to the stuff. And before the coronavirus, we were looking to get into the studio and record a load of new music, but that sort of shut that down a bit, didn't it?
I did, yeah, definitely.
So how did you guys form? Where did the name kind of come from?
We formed back when, what was the year? Was it 20?
Wasn't long ago. Was it? No, it was 2018. 2018. So I was in my last year.
End of 2018. And I was at music college in Birmingham, ACM, and I wanted to start a band outside of college. There was I don't know if you've seen the YouTube video that's on our YouTube. We've just started a YouTube up. And basically there's a app called Find a Musician, and we joined that app. And there's like a countdown, and you have about a week to get to like access a notification, and that was Kieran's notification. It had like, I think it was like a day left, wasn't it?
It had 1 day left on it before it got deleted forever.
Yeah, and then basically we got Kieran round, and he lives really locally to us, and we didn't even say like you're in the band, but it's just like been like that ever since, hasn't it? It's just one rehearsal, and it's just been that way ever since.
It just seemed to click, didn't it? Everything just felt kind of natural, really, when we were all in the same room. So it was really good to, I don't know, have the same taste in music and want to make and create like the same genre and music that we both liked, really.
I think you only living 10 minutes down the road as well really helped.
Yeah, that's just so weird though, that like you got the massive like place this internet is, and then you put an ad out, and then the person that you meet on there is only 10 minutes away from that.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And like, you know, some of the people that we know as well, it's all a blur, really. Small world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the name, with regards to the name, we were previously called Apollo, and when you upload all your music to Spotify, you have to basically create your own artist profile, and somebody had already taken that name. So we were literally putting the music up, and we were like, oh God, I need to think of a name. And I was just pulling my hair out, brainstorming in the kitchen with my mum, actually, and we just thought the net. Well, I thought like I've always liked stuff to do with like space and stuff, and I really like the name Nova. And then there's like a clothes shop in Wolverhampton, and it's called Blooms. And my mum was talking about Blooms, the clothes shop, and I said Nova Blooms. So it's like it just kind of like worked like that, and I really like the name, and we've just stuck with it ever since, haven't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when I first discovered you guys, I actually stumbled across a video of you covering Jungle by Tash Sultana. And you've just touched on your influences a little bit before. Who would you say like are the biggest and main artists that you kind of like, I don't know, take influence from as a band together, like rather than individually?
For me, from coming from like a songwriting perspective, I love that song Jungle so much. I mean, I love other songs in our catalogue like Cigarettes, Mystic, and like the way I was obsessed with her when I was at music college, because I think she's like 5'4", but she has like the biggest sound, and there's just one person on stage, and it's like the most amazing thing to see live. I haven't seen her live, but I just watched like she did a TED talk on YouTube, and I've watched that so many times. And I just love the sound of a really clean guitar. I love Fender guitars. I've still got one here right now. So this is a Telecaster similar to what she uses. and I just really love the clean sound with a load of reverb. And also, she has a lot of surf influences. I don't know if you know Ocean Alley. Have you heard of those guys?
Yeah.
They're a really good band as well. And there's a lot of really good music going on in Australia in that scene. I love her music because the minute you hear one of her songs, you know it's her. So I think when we do Jungle live, we do it different though, don't we? We like
that song. It's really different.
Yeah, we've transformed that song. Like the first couple of times we did it, we tried to play it identical
to what she does.
Yeah. But now we have like a drum breakdown, like a solo. We like speed it up, slow it down. And we've kind of made it our own, but like still paid homage to her because it's such an awesome song. But then I think Foals, like their latest
I was just about to say that. Foals is definitely, as a collective, one of the bands that we really do idolise, I think.
Yeah, I absolutely love Yanis's stuff and Jimmy. And just, probably our favourite song is In Degrees or Exit. Just that's why I want to learn piano, because it just adds an extra dynamic to the sound. And being a three-piece,
it's trying to fill the stage, isn't it? And fill that room that you're playing.
Yeah. I'd say one of the best things to do if you're in a band as well is to go and see bands together as a group. And then that really helps, you learn and develop your sound, but also take on board what other musicians do and how they've got to that position. And I think that's really one of the best ways that we develop what we do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go and see someone live.
Definitely. We go to so many concerts. We're really fortunate. I mean, last year we saw like the Chili Peppers and stuff, Arctic Monkeys when they came back and toured.
Yeah, they were good.
So it's just loads of, like, we love musicians that are impactful but true to themselves and they have a unique sound. So I'd say Foals, Tash, Kasabian, Arctic Monkeys, like that AM album. I love their older stuff, but I think the way they crossed hip-hop beats. There's a YouTube channel called Middle Eight, and they put Iggy Azalea's vocals over some of the AM tracks, and it's literally just an R&B beat. It's amazing to see. I'd definitely check that out. But yeah, that's who influences us.
So are there any like elements of any like particular songs or artists that you kind of artistically embed into yourselves, like collectively as the band?
Definitely. Yeah. I think the thing is with us is we don't particularly want to sound like anyone else.
And that's when we went to the studio, we had that question.
And it's really difficult for us because when someone says, who do you sound like?
Who do you want to sound
like? Or who do you want to sound like? It's a difficult question because you want to find your own niche segment in the industry. But yeah, I mean, you could look at so many different artists and say, we sound like them.
Or Your Soul with the Strat that you play, like.
Yeah, I mean, I'll show you, like, Your Soul is just, I don't know if you've heard that song. Like, it's very disco-y, Nile Rodgers influenced. I love a lot of his stuff when you see him live, and it just makes you want to dance and just makes you happy. So definitely Nile Rodgers.
Yeah. For me, I think Jack Bevan from Foals was one of my big influences, and then Led Zeppelin's John Bonham. As a kid, I used to listen to him all the time playing the drums because that was just the things that he did with all his offbeats and little grace notes and things that if you didn't listen to them a lot, you wouldn't pick up. But it's when you know that they're there that it makes it so special in the song. And I think it's trying to put in them like little special things that people might not recognise at first, but to their more tuned ear, then people are like, "Oh my god, wow, that's incredible. That's like a really niche way of playing something." So, yeah, definitely John Bonham was one of my big influences when I was growing up.
So obviously you've got quite a unique sound as you've like just described, and some bigger kind of brands have picked up on that, like BBC Introducing. What was like your experience, and how did you feel when you like found out that your track was getting played on there?
It was surreal, really, like having those 3 letters linked with your work. And it's mad. Like, we've been on the radio a couple of times now. The first time we were at home, and then the second time I was in the car, and it was just mad, wasn't it? And we definitely want to take it further and really push to get more radio play. But it was surreal. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
It's really special to see, obviously, that people streaming music and listen to it. But there's something about radio that when you hear it on that, it's completely different. And when you hear someone talk about it and say, this is your track, the track by Nova Bloom, and you know that, I mean, when we went to BBCWM, we heard that, thousands and thousands of people were listening to the show there and then. I just thought that was so interesting.
It was a special moment. And the host described it as psychedelic rock and roll, which I thought was a really, really interesting, not metaphor, analogy,
but take on it.
Take on it. Yeah, it was really interesting, and I was like, he's kind of hit the nail on the head really there.
But yeah, for anyone who's looking to get their music out there, I really think if you go down the BBC introducing route, you know, if you don't get played first time, just send them a message again. It's all about trying and really, you know, chasing people up and really asking for music to be put out there. And it will get put out there. It just takes a lot of hard work and patience, doesn't it?
Yeah, we put about, on their list you apply, we put about 5 or 6 songs out, and it was only, I think, what was the first song? The first song was, it was Once Again, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Once Again.
It was Once Again, but then like Chains got played last week in Hereford. So it's just so random when it happens.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even know. Sometimes you'll be out, you'll get an email, and it's like, oh, your song was played. And it's like, oh, wow. And then you go back and it's on BBC Stand. Yeah, it's crazy. How did you, can we ask you a question? How did you guys find us then? Was it through Jungle?
Yeah, I was on TikTok actually, and I was just searching Tash Sultana Jungle because she's one of my all-time favourite artists.
Yeah.
And I saw a video, I actually commented on it, and I was like, is that the Sunny? Because you were opening for Candy. And I saw it, and I was like, wait, that's the Sunflower Lounge. And I looked into you on Instagram, and I was like, wait, these guys are from Birmingham. And from there on out, I've just started listening to you.
That's mental.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, because when we play it live, it's just, that beat is just mega, and then obviously it's just the way she came out with that riff, and it was like on like FIFA and stuff. And I remember you playing FIFA, and like we just listened to the whole song, and then play a game of FIFA because it's such a good tune.
Yeah.
So to be on BBC Introducing is actually pretty big for like kind of just a small like kind of the scene. The scene in Brom is actually quite like pretty underground at the moment. So that's pretty big achievement to get played on the radio. But is there anything else like across your kind of like musical journey so far that you've experienced which you would like kind of define as like a big moment that you guys are going to take with you forever?
Definitely. There's a few things. I think there's one group of people who I'd like to really give a shout out to, and they're called Raw Sound TV. And they invited us to go and record a few songs at their place.
To the cigarette city where the air is thick and the streets are gritty. I need some time to find my thoughts because all I know has fallen short. The life I've led isn't the best, but all I know is I tried my best to find a place away from here where all of you disappear. Once again we've fallen short, but you and I, we will never be caught.
I really recommend you guys go and look at their YouTube channel because what they do for upcoming bands is incredible. Really,
yeah.
They're trying to build a platform to put new music out there, but in a different way. That was one thing that was really interesting for us was getting an email off them and saying, you know, can you come down and play? And obviously we went there, and you know, no money was exchanged or anything. They just do it for the love of it.
They asked for a donation, but it's so deserved because the time they put into it is amazing. But I think the biggest thing for us as a band is, and I think the thing we're most proud of, is just the gigs that we do and how heavily we gig. I mean, there's so many bands that I was at college with and that we were with, and you know each other on the circuit. And I think the thing is with us is we'll always do a gig, we'll always go out, we'll always put ourselves out there, and we've done gigs before. Post Malone at the Arena, on the Unsigned stages, just stuff like that. And we had loads booked up. We had one for Harry Styles, Bowles,
Catfish in the Bottom Man. Who won that one?
Yeah. That was awesome. That
went down really well.
Yeah, because they are like target market really, and to get everybody who was just walking around buying like beer and like food to like actually stop and watch us was pretty mental. And I think we all see this as the beginning. Like we are nowhere near where we want to be, but it's all part of the journey.
Yeah,
and we just really want to get back into the studio basically because we've got so many songs in our catalogue
ready to go, aren't they? They're just ready to get
out.
So,
And it's really frustrating when, Kieran lives 10 minutes down the road and all we want to do is get in a room together and get these songs done. So I think the biggest thing for us is our touring and just putting the shift in, really, putting the grind in, keep the gigs going, put the content out on social media, make your posts look as good as possible, and just really put the effort in.
So touching a bit on your music, you released, was it last year you released your EP Shorter Days?
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that. Like, was there any process in which you came to write it, or like how did you come about like bringing that together?
So Shorter Days was the first song I ever wrote on guitar, and I got into a really bad habit of staying up till about 6 a.m. just writing songs. But it's weird when you write a song on a guitar and then you get a group of people in a room together and then you all work on that one song together. It's really interesting because the song takes a different shape and a different form.
I was going to say, it can completely change to how you first originally thought it was going to plan out.
Yeah, but you don't think about it when you're in the room, and if you overthink it, it's not natural. So just for instance, like the breakdown on the C, like we played that live one of the times, and you just zone out. Like the bridge bit on the C is probably one of my favourite musical moments on the EP. The solo one, once again, Cigarette City, when we play that live, like a lot of people have never heard that song before, but it just connects with them. It's like this raw primal instinct to just want to move and jump. So Shorter Days was written over about a year, and then we went into the studio and recorded that. And looking back, there's so many things I'd like to tweak on that EP.
Yeah,
but I think it's a really good building block to build off. That's the way to look at it now. Like,
at the end of the day, it allowed
the
us to see what we were about and what we had and the music that we want to kind of put out there, really. It was definitely a good building block in that respect.
What are your guys' favourite tunes off Shorter Days?
I like Cigarette City. I think that's the first song that I heard of you guys.
Yeah. So I think that was the first one that Lucas showed me as well. So it's such a mad song. I love it.
Yeah, cheers. It's just interesting because lots of people have obviously different tastes and stuff, but songs like Demons and stuff, I always imagine that song being sung. I don't know if you guys have seen Bohemian Rhapsody, but when Freddie Mercury sings Love of My Life, like just to an open field, like that is just an amazing moment. And I think Demons could be a song like that. And then just like, Your Soul, that could be remixed and it could be like an R&B, like Charles Topper. You just don't know what's going to happen. So I definitely see our EP as it's a sign of things to come, isn't it?
We see it as almost like a foundation to build on. And I'd say to any musician that wants to get their music perfect before it goes out, just put it out there, because you'll get people noticing it, and then you'll get feedback from them, and you'll come up with new things that you would have never have thought of if you hadn't have put your music out there. Because you're never going to get found in your bedroom. You've got to put music out there for people to listen to. Sometimes they won't say it's great, but when someone says it is great, that's when we feel we're a lot more creative, aren't we?
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is just believing in what you do and being happy, because some people have said, I don't like your music, and then other people have said, I really like your music. So not everyone is going to love it. And if someone says I don't like it, just say, that's your opinion, and I value that. And if someone says I like it, I also value that as well. So it's just don't be afraid. And once you take that step and you put your own music out there, it really is a proud moment when you see it on. When we saw it on iTunes and Spotify, we're like, this is mad.
And simple things like, saying, hey, Alexa, play Nova Bloom, stuff like that. Kieran, you must have done that 1,000 times.
Oh, yeah. That was funny, though. I think just the music industry is really a diverse place, isn't it? That you're never going to please everyone. But if you can just find that core group of fans who really enjoy your music, then that's the people that you produce and create more music for, because they're the people that want to listen and want to hear what you've got, really.
Yeah. And I think I also just want to give you guys a shout out as well. I think what you guys are doing is really, really interesting and really amazing. And I think Birmingham and the West Midlands scene, because we're from Wolverhampton, but I think the biggest thing is, it will soon be Birmingham and the West Midlands' turn to showcase new music. And I think the influences from like the Arctic Monkeys, Kasabian are now filtering down. And I think indie and guitar music is going to have a really big revival and come back strong.
It needs people like you guys to do what you're doing, though, because it's not easy.
So we've seen like throughout the whole lockdown, like COVID-19 situation, we've seen like so many artists like kind of saying like, yo, we're writing music, all we can do really. Like I know I've written quite a few songs already, just been sat in my bedroom since lockdown.
Yeah.
But is there anything we should expect from you guys after lockdown? Like, if you guys got any plans coming up?
Definitely, we've got booked 2 or 3 gigs up. But the thing is with the lockdown, it's just we don't know how long it's going to go on for.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's really difficult for me. This is probably one of the least inspired times I've ever been in as a musician. For some reason, when I pick up my guitar, sometimes I'm just like, it's just not going to happen today. But recently, I don't know if it's the warm weather, I've actually had like a revival really, and I'm really loving playing guitar again. And I think once this lockdown is done and everyone's happy and healthy, I think a lot of people will be going out to gigs, a lot of new music will be coming out, and with regards to us, we've got a new song called Goodbye that will be coming out, another song which we're writing at the moment on piano that I'm really excited about. And the thing is with us, it's when we go into the studio, the songs are finished. Like we don't chance it in the studio. We get everything perfect. Well, as perfect as we have it in that moment, and we hit record and get it out there, and that's the way we like to work. So yes, definitely expect lots of new music coming soon.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us today. Before we go, we just wanted to know if there are any last messages that you have to give out to everyone, and where can everyone find you, where can they find your music and on social media?
Definitely. Kieran, do you want to?
Okay, so you can follow us on Facebook at NoBloom_official, also Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram being the main one really. That's where we post most of our content. It's probably where you'll see it first.
Yeah.
We've just started up a new YouTube channel, just searching Overbloom, and we put a video up the other day called Meet the Band, which gives you a little bit more insight into our past and what we've got coming up in the future. So definitely give them a little check out if you've got the time. Well, you definitely do because COVID.
Yeah, definitely. But we'd really appreciate if you could give us a follow on Instagram or even subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's just, we just want as many people to hear our music as possible, really.
Yeah, and with regards to the YouTube, we really want to go down that path because I think we were really heavily reliant on Instagram for a long time. And I absolutely love Instagram because you can capture moments from gigs and moments of people's reactions to songs. But I think if we can get, and I think this is good advice for other bands as well, if you can get all of your social media working for you at the same time, filtering into one core thing, which is to obviously get new followers and get people listening to your music, then I think that's the best thing possible. So we're really going to push for the YouTube aspect of it and videos. We're going to start doing vlogs, behind the scenes content. Because I think a lot of people would like to see what it's like driving to a gig in Birmingham at rush hour.
Yeah, it's always interesting.
The amount of times we've been like cut up by cars and stuff because you can't see out the windows, and like Kieran's buried in the back of the van because it's like drunk, it's huge, and it's just little things like I think people would like to see, because I think one of the biggest things about like Kieran's drum kit, and everyone goes wow, is the LED lights and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to tell them about that, but I think that's a cool thing that people would like to be more interested in.
I think that surprised you when I first came around as well. So in my drum kit, I've got these lights that you can buy from like Drum Lights, and they're controlled by a remote, and you literally turn them on. You can have them flashing or just like steady pulsing, and you turn them on, and it's like that wow factor that people go wow, or they really get to notice it. And it was just the craziest thing. So when I first started playing in Birmingham, then you'd be on, if you were on first and it wasn't your kit, then that's cool. But like if you're headlining and you leave the lights up the whole time and then you turn them on at the end, people go wow, and instantly pulls people forward, because you always find them at the gigs, people kind of are like nervous in a way, like they never want to stand at the front. They're always kind of like edging towards the back, and then as soon as you turn these lights on, you come forward, everyone just starts to pull forward, and you're like, it's like they're like almost like attracting people, but it's decent.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the biggest thing as well is just for any young band out there, is just enjoy it. Just enjoy playing live, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
That's the main thing.
Out there and putting the hours in on stage and just jamming out.